Have you ever noticed how Japan never brags about its achievements? While the world competes for recognition, Japan simply moves forward, quietly, deliberately, and with precision. There's no loud declaration of superiority, no desperate need to be first. Instead, it's a culture of perfection through patience. Walk the streets of Tokyo and you'll feel it. Order without force, efficiency without chaos. Trains arrive to the second. Students bow as they greet their teachers. Workers move with pride in even the smallest task. But this quiet excellence didn't come from nowhere. It began in a place most people overlook, the classroom. Japan's education system isn't designed just to produce intelligent students. It's built to shape character. While many countries treat school as a race to memorize facts, Japan treats it as a place to understand how to live. Respect, harmony, and personal responsibility aren't afterthoughts, they're foundations. From childhood, Japanese students are not just learning what to think, but how to act, and how to coexist. This isn't a competition, it's cultivation, a slow, deliberate molding of mind and spirit that starts in the earliest years. And that's why Japan doesn't need to shout to prove itself. Its strength speaks through behavior, not words, through consistency, not chaos. While the rest of the world competes for attention, Japan quietly builds the blueprint of the future. In Japan, the first few years of education are not about testing knowledge. They're about shaping identity. For the first 6 years of school, there are no official grades, no class rankings, no endless exams. Because Japanese educators believe that before you can teach a child knowledge, you must first teach them values. Children are taught empathy, respect, and gratitude, the building blocks of emotional intelligence. They clean their classrooms together, serve each other lunch, and maintain the school grounds with care. This isn't busy work, it's responsibility training. By doing these tasks together, children learn to take ownership of their surroundings. They learn that the smallest act, even sweeping a floor, has dignity. In a world where education often revolves around me, Japan teaches the power of we. The teacher isn't a boss, they're a mentor guiding emotional growth. Every child is reminded that they are part of something greater than themselves, a community built on cooperation and discipline. That's why Japanese schools feel balanced. There's an energy, quiet yet alive, a harmony that isn't forced but felt. It's not just about creating good students. It's about raising good people. And that foundation, invisible to the outside world, is what gives Japan its quiet advantage. In many school systems, students are to compete, to stand out, to be the best, even at the expense of others. But in Japan, standing out isn't the ultimate goal. Growing together is. Exams matter, but cooperation matters more. When a student struggles, the others help. When someone fails, the group doesn't move on without them. They bring them back up, because success in Japan is collective. The true test is whether everyone understands, not just the top of the class. Teachers emphasize ganbaru, a concept that means to do your best and persevere. It's not about beating others. It's about refusing to give up. That word, ganbaru, is at the heart of Japan's progress. It teaches students that consistency outlasts talent. That effort outweighs ego. And when millions grow up with that mindset, it shapes an entire nation's character. Japan isn't filled with perfectionists. It's filled with persistent learners. Every generation inherits the same principle, that learning never ends and no setback defines you. It's not education as a contest. It's education as a lifelong journey. And that mindset doesn't just create smarter students, it creates stronger people. Step into a Japanese classroom and you'll notice something immediately. It's not chaos. It's not silence. It's harmony. Students bow before class begins. Desks are neatly aligned. Shoes are removed before entering certain areas. Even the atmosphere feels intentional, peaceful, focused, alive. Discipline here isn't demanded. It's absorbed. There's no fear, no yelling, just expectation and respect. Japanese students learn to read emotion and environment, not just words on a page. They can sense when to speak and when to listen. It's emotional intelligence disguised as etiquette. And because of that harmony, teachers can teach more deeply and students can listen more fully. This subtle order, practiced daily, shapes how people later work, create, and collaborate in adulthood. It's not robotic discipline, it's balanced freedom. Everyone understands that discipline isn't control, it's trust. That's why Japan runs efficiently, not because it forces obedience, but because it nurtures understanding. It's a lesson that the world in its noise has largely forgotten. When you look at Japan's biggest innovators, Sony, Toyota, Nintendo, Panasonic, there's one pattern. Their founders weren't driven by ego or fame. They were driven by mastery. That mastery began in childhood, in a system where patience is power, where small steps matter more than big leaps. The Japanese concept of kaizen, meaning continuous improvement, isn't just a business strategy. It's an educational philosophy. Students are taught to refine, to iterate, to learn by doing, again and again, until excellence becomes habit. This mindset seeps into everything: art, technology, design, manufacturing. Every creation is treated like a craft, not a product. That's why a sushi chef can train for 10 years before being allowed to serve customers. Why a factory worker takes pride in polishing a single part until it gleams. Because in Japan, every detail matters. Perfection isn't the goal. Progress is. And when an entire nation grows up believing that, innovation stops being forced. It becomes inevitable. What begins in schools doesn't stay in schools. It becomes the rhythm of Japanese life. Teamwork transforms into collective responsibility. Respect becomes the invisible thread connecting communities. Cleanliness and care turn into national habits, from spotless streets to meticulous customer service. Even silence, in something many cultures fear, is valued. It's seen not as awkwardness, but as reflection, a space where thoughts can breathe. When you combine that patience, discipline, and empathy, you get a society where excellence isn't forced. It's natural. And that's Japan's secret. Their education system doesn't just teach knowledge. It teaches awareness. Awareness of self, awareness of others, awareness of the world. It's why Japanese citizens move with such quiet coordination. They've learned since childhood that harmony isn't weakness, it's strength. The result of all this? A country that doesn't dominate through words, but through actions. Japan's education system has cultivated generations who see the world differently. To them, excellence is not a destination, it's a lifestyle. And that's why Japan consistently ranks among the world's top nations in innovation, safety, and longevity. Not because of natural resources, not because of size, but because of mindset. Their quiet success is proof that true power doesn't need to shout. It simply exists in the way they build, create, and live. Every act of refinement, every humble improvement, every lesson taught in silence adds up to something extraordinary. That's Japan's unspoken power, a mastery of both the mind and the heart. Japan's silent revolution in education isn't about control or competition. It's about evolution. They've shown that real learning isn't memorizing facts. It's understanding life. It's shaping character, fostering awareness, and instilling discipline that lasts a lifetime. And maybe that's the kind of education the world needs now. Because while others chase speed, Japan perfects depth. While others seek attention, Japan refines purpose. They've proven that intelligence means nothing without integrity, and that a nation's greatest achievement isn't what it builds, but who it raises. The future of education won't belong to those who know the most, but to those who learn with meaning. And that's what Japan has been quietly teaching all along. Learning through anything is possible,